Hi there, my name's John Albiston, and I'm here to talk to you about how we can follow up with our givers. Nonprofits have known for decades that follow-up is worth its weight in gold. Gratitude costs so little, but it means so much. And when you show gratitude, those people who receive it are much more likely to give again. Well, that same secret nonprofits have known for years, we're going to share with you today. Step number one is to track your givers. Now, I've given to a number of nonprofit organizations, and without fail, they respond with an email, a letter, or a phone call, sometimes all three, to display their gratitude. But as a church coach, I'm in a different church every single week, and whenever I get the opportunity, I give to those churches. And after being in dozens and dozens and dozens of churches, exactly 0 of them have ever responded with any kind of display of gratitude. What do we conclude then? Churches are filled with self-entitled jerks? That somehow gratitude isn't a Christian value? Of course not. What's going on is that those churches don't have the first clue who's giving and who's not giving. They're simply not tracking it. So we need to fix that. Easy problem to fix. We need to start tracking who's giving online, who's giving on other means. We need to start tracking who just started giving. Someone who just started giving, make it an important first step in trusting God with their finances, an important first step into buying into your mission and vision. Who's recently stopped giving? What regular givers did we have who's now backed off? And what's going on there? Are they in a season of shortage or in a season of surplus? Are they buying into the vision or are they losing confidence? We need to find out. Step number 2 is to sort your givers. Although we value everybody equally, we don't treat everybody the same. People are at different stages of their spiritual development. We don't treat seniors the same way we treat senior high. We don't treat toddlers the way we treat adults. And it's the same with our givers. We need to respond to those givers differently depending where they're at. So we need to sort out our first-time givers. We want to know who those people are. They're the ones who've just made that first step. We want to sort out our spontaneous givers. Spontaneous givers are those people who are on your side, but they give whenever they feel like it, and they give whenever it occurs to them. But they do not have an intentional plan on giving. So we want to know who these people are. Then we have our regular givers. These people are intentional. They're regular, they're consistent, it's on their heart to give. Who are these people? We have our sacrificial givers. These are people who make a large sacrificial gift. Something's going on in their heart, and they're buying in and they're doubling down hard on what you're doing. We need to know who these people are in order to respond to them. And then we have our lapse givers. Someone who used to give but who is no longer giving. So we need to have those people in all different categories so we know how to respond to them. Step number 3 is to actually respond to them. So first of all, we want to make our response consistent. We want to support others who are doing the right thing and respond accordingly. And because of that, we want to build a watertight response system. We don't want anybody falling through the cracks. Then we want to make it timely. We want to thank people early and we want to thank people often. So for your first-time givers and those big sacrificial givers, we want to have next-day follow-up. One of the things that we've learned on following up when it comes to first-time visitors is that follow-up within the first 24, 48 hours means a lot. If you follow up somebody with Monday, the chances of them returning are much higher than if you wait till Wednesday or if you wait till Friday. So we want that response to come and be prompt. And if you're taking Mondays off, I'd ask you to reconsider and take Fridays off instead. It's way better. You get the 2-day weekend. Or have at least somebody following up with them on Monday. But quick follow-up for your first-time visitors and your sacrificial givers is very important. For your regular givers, probably want to follow up with them monthly. We don't want to take these people for granted. Just like with a volunteer, we don't want to thank them the first time they volunteered and then never again. No, we want to give them constant encouragement and support. And so probably a monthly follow-up. Just a short little message about a different life who's been changed this last month because of what they've been doing. And for our lapsed givers, we sometimes want to wait maybe 2 or 3 months before responding to them. And then when we respond, we want to find out what's going on in their lives. Again, maybe they're going through job loss, maybe they're having a financial crisis, or maybe they're having a crisis of faith. Either way, it's important that we find out, and it's important that we respond. We also want to make things personal. Robotic responses mean nothing. Now, I've received emails and letters, "Dear supporter." I don't even bother reading those. Those letters go right into the garbage. And when I know a certain organization gives me those letters, I don't even open them. They just go straight in. That means nothing. Gratitude, for it to be meaningful, has to be personal. So first of all, you need to know who the giver is. And I mean actually know, who is this person who's giving? And then when you want to address that letter, when you send a response to them, address it to them by name. No "dear supporter" or "dear friend" letters. Address it to them by name. And when you write that letter, you want to write in your natural conversational voice. This isn't the time for liturgical pastor voice, super spiritual language. This isn't you acting with an official voice, but a personal voice. So that same way that you, pastor, would talk to a friend, use that voice, use that tone when you write the letter. First thing you want to say is something personal, so they know this is actually from you to them. Like, "Hey, how's Donna and the kids?" Or, "Hey, I saw Tommy the other day at the mall," or something personal, so you're making a connection. Doesn't have to be long, but start that letter off with some kind of a personal comment. If possible, send them a handwritten, hand-addressed thank you note. That means so much. Now, I trust you've gotten mail before. When you go to the mailbox and you see a hand-addressed envelope, does that go to the top of the pile or the bottom? Well, obviously it goes to the top of the pile. We're excited when we see a hand-addressed envelope. And when you open up that hand-addressed envelope and you see a printed form letter, but if you see a handwritten note, that's gold. And quite frankly, you're probably going to keep that. It takes a little bit of time, but boy, does it mean so much when we do handwritten, hand-addressed envelopes. We want to make it intentional. So what we're doing when we write these letters is we want to touch their hearts in a personal way. We want to support their contributions, the good thing that they did, the noble thing in following Jesus. We want to support that. We want to use this as an opportunity to even increase their engagement in volunteering, in prayer, and in financial support. And we want to give them a next step that they can take. We want to empower people. So how do we do that in one letter? Well, this is an outline that I recommend that you follow. 1, start off and thank them for their generous gift. Gratitude is a good and godly thing. Use it liberally. Then we want to describe the impact of their action. When someone gives, they give because they want to know that their gift made a difference. That's why people give, to have some kind of an impact. So tell them about the impact that their gift made. And I would revise this at least on a monthly basis. And don't give numbers or statistics, don't really touch the heart, but talk about a story that came up in the last month of somebody's life that was changed because of the ministry of the church. Describe for them the impact that their gift had on the church and how it makes a difference. Then you want to give them a compelling next step that they can take to continue to support the mission. Now, this will change depending on where they are, whether they're a first-time giver, spontaneous giver, regular giver. We want to give them some kind of a next step. And that's not necessarily about finances. It could be a number of different things. But we want to give them that next step. So, for example, if we want them to volunteer, if we want them to plug in, then give them the name and contact of the person who you want them to talk to about volunteering. We want them to have an easy and obvious next step there. You might want to give them an emotionally compelling details of what we want them to pray for, if we want prayer as a next step. Or give them easy, obvious way to give again as a next step. All of those are valid. All of those are good for them spiritually, and they're good for the mission. And then thank them once again and conclude the letter. When we have this detailed follow-up system where we don't let anybody fall through the cracks, that will have a profound spiritual impact on our people. And you will find that you reap what you sow. And when we sow gratitude, we will harvest generosity.